It is so easy to get started in the online business world that new businesses often get caught up in the sexiness that is marketing.
Yeah, so today what we're going to talk about is why you should be focusing on the other three components of your business in addition to marketing.
Are you frustrated by a lack of momentum in your business? Tired of putting in long hours doing what everyone says you should and still not making money? Sounds like you're ready for Lifestyle Builders. We'll help you get back on track, taking action, and seeing results. Head over to joinlifestylebuilders.com today to get started. All right. So I know in the past we've gotten caught up in it. Other people, a lot of other people have gotten caught up. I don't feel like that doesn't sound right.
Wow.
Caught
Can
up.
you speak?
I can't today.
Did you get your chai this morning?
Anyways, I feel like this is one of the biggest issues as you watch new people coming into online business is that they just get caught up in all the FOMO that is marketing. Like, it's so much fun. Everyone's out there telling you you need to have this tool and you need to be posting here and you need to be doing this and that. And it's all over the place. And it's often very, very costly for business owners to only focus on the marketing piece. And especially when they're not even focusing in the right place.
Yeah, well, that's really the biggest thing is, the barrier to entry to starting a business, especially if you're starting an online business, is like the lowest it's ever been, which is amazing because it provides so many more opportunities for people to start a side business and then eventually grow that into a business that now replaces your income and allows you to leave. So lots of good things from there. The downfall of this is that because the barrier to entry is so low, anyone can get started. And when you get started, you see this abundance of information on your line. You're like, oh, great. Look at all these books and all these podcasts and all these videos and all these courses. And it can very easily become overwhelming. And like we've talked about in our last couple of episodes, there's all these things that people tell you that you should be doing. You should be growing an email list. You should be paying for Facebook ads. And none of that's necessarily wrong, but the challenge is when you should be doing those things.
Correct.
And for most people, when they're getting started, none of that should really be a focus for you. Yet that's where everyone goes. And then the struggle that we find so many people fall into is that they've quote unquote been at their business for like 1 year, 2 years, and they're not making any money. They've done all sorts of marketing stuff.
They're spending lots of money.
And they've shifted into all these different ways to do it. And they're like, this strategy's not working. Let me try this other strategy. But at the end of the day, they're not making money and they're not able to then achieve the goals they want because they're spending so much on marketing and forgetting about the other areas of the business.
Let's be completely honest here. There are a lot of marketers out there that prey on the new people coming into business and are selling them the easy button. They're selling them, hey, do this marketing thing and you're going to make $1 million. And, people are very much caught up in the dream when they first get into online business or entrepreneurship and they see what is available and what other people have been capable of. It's so easy to get caught up in that dream and then like, oh, I have to do exactly what they did. And that's how I'm going to be successful. And you have to be your own strongest critic when it comes to the things that you're purchasing and tools and courses and coaches, anything that you're going to invest your time and money in as a business owner. You have got to look at it without the rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah, well, and it's very tough. And I mean, I was somebody that fell through that,
It's obvious which of the two of us is the more critical buyer.
Well, but part of this too, to be honest, is that when most people get started in business, like, you get excited. And especially one, if you don't like the position you're in today, you're looking for something new. And then two, especially if you see the vision for your future life and the things that you'll be able to do with this. And then somebody, like I always tell people it's like this. If you've got two parents and you go to one parent and they tell you, hey, can I have $10? Yeah, if you go mow the lawn. Well, and then you go to the other parent, you say, can I have $10? And they're like, well, yeah, here's $10. Which parent are you going to keep going to? And unfortunately, what happens is that there's companies that say, oh yeah, this is super easy. All you got to do is this. We got the magic formula for you. And then there's other companies like us that say, hey, we can help you, but guess what? This is going to be hard. And here's what it's going to take. And most people, when they get started, they're like,
They don't want to hear that.
yeah, I don't want to hear that. Let me go to the guy that says it's going to be super easy. And so what a lot of people do is they focus on the wrong things at the wrong time, one of which being marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up, not only causing them to take longer to achieve success, but in a lot of cases, they don't ever get there because by the time they finally realize that it's not as easy as everyone says and it does take work, they've spent a lot of money, they've spent a lot of time,
They're frustrated,
they've gotten demoralized,
mm-hmm.
and it's, in that case, hard to then come back and feel like you got to start over again.
I think that was one of the hardest lessons that we had to learn coming into this and trying to help other people was just like as a parent, sometimes you have to let people make their own mistakes.
Yeah.
So even though we have made a lot of these mistakes and we were trying to tell people like, no, don't do this. We promise you, we tried that. It doesn't work. There are some things that people just have to experience on their own before they can have that epiphany moment like, oh, that's what they were talking about. I totally should have listened. It doesn't matter. Like just like in your brain, if the parent tells you don't do that, you're going to get hurt. There's a lot of kids that are going to do it anyways because they need to experience that and they need to go through that before they're going to ultimately understand what it is you were talking about in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there was a quote I heard a couple of years ago, we can be your leader, not your savior.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's in our manifesto.
One of the things I realized was that because I had fallen into that trap, I was quote unquote trying to save everybody else from that. And, in reality, I was actually robbing people because all the challenges that we've all had to overcome have got us to this point. And by robbing somebody of the challenges, you don't allow them to grow. And let me tell you, being an entrepreneur is one of the biggest challenges you're going to face. And it's going to force you to really grow more than probably most other things in your life. And so with that, let's talk about where marketing fits in
Mm-hmm.
and what the other pieces are that you should be focusing on as well and how they kind of all play in and where your focus should be at, different stages of growing your business.
Yes, we're not saying marketing is bad. We're just saying it comes along with other things.
Yeah. So the first thing, if you're just getting into business, your number one goal is to make your first dollar. And the reason I say that is without sales, you don't have a business.
Correct.
You have an expensive hobby.
Quote of the show.
And so your first goal really needs to be to make that first dollar. There's a reason that everyone puts it on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that first dollar proves a couple things. It proves that you found a person or a group of people that have a problem. You created a solution that solves that problem, and you've been able to structure your message and all the things in the right way that person said, yes, I want to solve this problem. Yes, here's money because it's valuable enough for me to give you money in exchange for whatever goods or services I'm getting. And beautiful, that transaction worked. So your number one goal when you get started is not to focus on marketing. Your number one goal is to really focus on customer research, figuring out, what it is, who you want to help, how you're going to help them, and structuring it all so that you start making sales.
Mm-hmm.
And sales come before marketing.
Yeah, it's the foundation of your business. You're building the foundation of your business out. What's your business model? Who are you selling to? What are you selling them? It's all the good stuff. But I think that is hard. So many people skip over that piece because, I'll worry about that later because that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort to go through all of those things.
Yeah. Well, and so we had a previous episode, I forget the episode number right now, but we talked about the 4 main components of your business engine, and marketing is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You then also have sales.
Yep.
You then have operations.
It's just where you deliver what you sold.
Mm-hmm. And then you have finance. And so in our incubator program, when we bring people through, one of the first things we show them is at this phase of your journey growing your business, this is approximately where you'll be spending your time. And there is very little on marketing.
Yep.
Because at the first stage of business, you're spending most of your time on operations, which is creating and delivering your product, and sales, which is selling it so you have somebody to create it and deliver it to.
Mm-hmm.
Once you prove and essentially validate the need and that you can pull all that together and make sales, then you shift into marketing.
Yeah.
And part of what you're doing when you're shifting into marketing is, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong. So as you guys are listening, write this down. Unless you're driving, then just make a mental note. Most people start from the front and go to the back. So we've talked before about your customer journey.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning of your customer journey is their path to purchase. And that's basically saying, okay, what are all the steps that people have to go through to become aware of your company, to do any research, and then to ultimately buy? What most people do is they start at the very beginning of that. And that is the longest path to purchase.
Yeah.
So what that means is that's going to take a lot of time to nurture somebody towards a sale. Here's the secret that nobody is telling you about. You actually want to start at the back. You want to start at the closest to the sale and build it backwards. So this is why when we get started and when we help people get started with their business, we're starting with sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately after you start making sales, you're going to shift a little bit into marketing, but you're going to shift it into the marketing right before the sale happens. So not at the very beginning where you're trying to attract new people. You're trying to find the people right before the people that are ready to buy and start building out your marketing there. Then as time goes on, you continue building it out towards the people that aren't aware of you and need the most nurturing.
Yes. I actually can think of one person who does talk about it. Our good friend, Miss Amanda Bond, at Strategy. And she does Facebook ads, and she tells people straight up, you shouldn't be running Facebook ads until you've gotten the warm, hot stuff figured out first. So organic, which we also did an episode about that. Organic before paid marketing.
Yep. And that was show 115.
It was. We do have that one because it was the one before this one.
I do have that number. But yeah, so like Bond and I talk a lot, and part of the reason we're so aligned is because we understand how this actually works.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of marketers, especially online, that have listened to a podcast, taken a course, maybe done one thing, and now they're out trying to teach or offer that to other people, and they really don't understand this concept.
Yep.
And so what ends up happening is you spend a lot of money before you ever really make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And part of why we always talk about organic before paid is because you want to prove that everything works.
Yep.
Before you spend a lot of money to get more attention. Like one of the best examples I had was someone came to me and they weren't making sales and they wanted me to take a look at like what was going on. So I went through, each of the steps and the pages, and they didn't have a buy button on their sales page. So pulling all these people in was great. The reason they weren't making any sales was because they literally didn't have a way for somebody to buy from them. And so this is something that you would avoid if you first get people to buy and prove that they have a way to buy
before running all the traffic
before
to
then
that
doing
page.
everything else before that.
Yeah.
And so, let's kind of take a step back. And when you're first starting your business, we said operations and sales are really the two main things to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And so operations is going to be really figuring out who your customer is, really deep diving and understanding them. A lot of people talk about a customer avatar or have heard that. Most of them don't go deep enough.
Mm.
And when you don't go deep enough, you don't truly understand your customer, and you can't relate or have the right messaging to attract those people and show them that you truly understand them. And then the solution you end up creating will ultimately help them.
Mm-hmm. Again, because it's hard.
It is. Well, business is hard. Regardless of what people have said, business is hard.
And every level you raise up to gets harder. So, I think that part of it, like that easy button, everyone they automatically assume that marketing is some sort of easy button for your business. Oh, I just need to do more marketing. I just need to spend more money in marketing and then it'll work out. And like you said, that's the exact opposite of what you want to be doing. You want to dive deeper into your business and figure out a lot of marketing doesn't work because it's aiming at cold people who've never heard of you, who have maybe no interest in what it is you're selling. Maybe they're unaware that they even have a problem that you are trying to solve. So it's like if you were to take a gun and just shoot it all over the place with no idea whatsoever where you're aiming, the chance that you're going to hit your target is pretty unlikely, as opposed to if you know exactly what you're aiming for, where it is, and the distance for you to get there. you're going to know where to stand and how to aim. So the chances you're going to hit it way, way, way better. So it's like if you're thinking about your business and the success of your business, do you really want to be standing out in an open field with a blindfold on and trying to shoot all over the place in the hopes that you hit the target?
Well, if you are, I will not be there.
Yes, please do that alone. Don't bring it with you.
Well, and so we have multiple businesses, obviously, and this is the path that we've taken with each of our businesses. Ultimately, like our real estate business, what was the first thing that we did once we got a property? We went and put a sign on the house or in the yard that said for rent, right? So right away, and guess what? That was the closest to somebody buying, because somebody that went by that property meant they lived in the area. So rather than going and paying for advertising or putting like a
I don't even think we had a Facebook page for like the first few years.
No, because most of the people were in that area, they saw the sign and then they would come. When we launched our wine and liquor store, we had a soft opening. And before we ran any paid marketing, the marketing was, well, let's put some press releases out. The marketing was, let's put a grand opening banner on the front of the building. The marketing was, let's go tell all of our friends about this and anyone that would be interested. And guess what? There were kinks to work out. So part of it is, if you try to do all of this marketing and you haven't worked the kinks out, you're going to spend a lot more money trying to work those kinks out. So there's a benefit to starting small and getting wins and successes before you get bigger. Because the other piece of this is, most people don't do marketing really well when they begin. Let's say that you're on the flip side and you did do it really well. If you haven't set up the systems to be able to create enough of your product or service and then deliver it with a really good experience to your customers, you're going to have all these people come in. You're not going to give them a good experience, or you're not going to be able to fulfill what they bought. And then you're going to have refunds and people that are unhappy, and you're not going to help them get the results they're looking for. And that's not going to work out well for you either. So that's why you've got to do this at the right time and make sure that you're focusing first on sales and marketing. And then the other piece, we didn't talk about finance. You want to make sure that your business model is sound. Because there's a lot of people that, like, actually it's funny. I was watching The Office the other day, and for anyone that hasn't watched The Office, the Michael Scott, the guy who was the manager for the paper company, left and started his own. And he started stealing all the clients from the old company. And they went to the accountant to like run the numbers. And the guy's like, it costs you $300 to, or you make it costs you $300 to deliver this, and they're only paying you $297. So the guy's like, oh, so run the numbers again. You got ran the numbers. They're like, nope, you're still losing $3. So he's like, listen, the more you sell, the more money you're going to lose. And unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of businesses, because they'll go out and they'll set a price, or they'll do something, and then they'll start marketing and start making sales. But if their profit margins aren't right, if their pricing isn't right, if they misunderstood how much it's going to cost to create and deliver their product, they could actually do a whole bunch of work and then not make any money from it, which is the last thing you want to do as an entrepreneur.
Yep. Well, and there's a lot of people that will be like, I'm not good at marketing. I'm just going to hire somebody else to do it for me. Any good marketer out there or marketing agency is going to ask you if you have a converting offer first. Hello, Kat.
Well, and, ultimately, like I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, because, they had just built a funnel out and they were going to go hire a company. And one of the things we talked about, which was really good, was he wants to initially do some of this on his own first. And we talked about a lot of this, because the other problem people make when they hire, not just marketing, but marketing definitely, is they delegate everything to another company and then basically hope it's going to work. Where one of the things you want to be doing when you're hiring is making sure that you're hiring the right person in, and the right information to look at. So part of the strategy we put together for him was to have him organically run people through and get some baseline numbers on what each step of his process looks like. Then if he wants to start running some paid strategy, start closest to the sale and work backwards. And then if he hires a company in, he'll know, one, the questions to ask, two, the pain points he's had in the process, and then he'll be able to compare their results to his baseline and not just be paying them money hoping that it works.
Yeah, and he's also going to know exactly which pieces to delegate, as opposed to just handing off the entire project, because some of it might be better off with him and his business and his team, as opposed to giving the entire thing to a marketing agency.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I'll say on that is marketing itself can't be viewed in a vacuum. So there was an example where I was working with a company and their marketing guy just kept telling me, oh, things are good. Things are good. And I said, well, show me some of the numbers. And there was a struggle. When they finally did, he's like, oh, my cost per lead. So my ability to get somebody new in was like $2 per lead, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept just raving about this cost per lead. And then so I went over to the sales department and I said, so how many sales have you guys made off of this? And they said 0.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, listen, I don't care how good your cost per lead is if it doesn't turn into any sales, because that means you're spending money and not making it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what we did is we went through the funnel and kind of looked at things. And the marketing guy was like, oh, well, the problem is we're not making any sales because our salesmen aren't good. They're not converting these people. I'm generating leads. They're not doing it. So then we took a look at the calls, and the problem was they were unqualified leads.
Correct.
So the problem wasn't that the sales guy was bad. It was that starting with marketing, they weren't even pulling the right people in.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why, marketing is important, but you've got to look at marketing
as a piece
of the whole thing and at the right time. So to kind of sum up, start with your offer, start with making sales of that offer, and then work backwards in the sales process to start implementing marketing. And that's going to be your most effective way to kind of build that out as you grow your business.
Mm-hmm. And one of the best things that I see other companies and businesses do in their marketing is they're constantly asking their audience for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's built in right there. Your market research is built right into your marketing.
And you should always be doing market research.
Exactly.
That's the thing
but
people
so many
forget.
people forget, like, oh, we did that market research, so we've already figured this out. We're going to go market it now. No, you should constantly be asking your audience.
Another company that did that?
More
Kodak. This digital camera thing, it's just going to be a fad.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really important to stay in contact with your audience, obviously, especially the ones that are buying from you, but the ones that you're bringing into your world, because things do shift and things change. And sometimes you may be shifting or adjusting your product or service based on what people are telling you as they come into your business. So you always want to make sure you have a handle on that, because if you're just picking one marketing strategy and you're throwing it out there and you just leave it alone, again, we're going to have issues down the road because you're not shifting and making changes based on the people that you're trying to sell to, what their need is. And you don't know what their need is because you're not asking them.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of my summary as we kind of wrap this up is, marketing is important.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get started in business, it's one of the least important things. You want to be aware of it. You want to have an idea that you're going to be incorporating more of it as you go. But starting out, what you really want to be focusing on is those sales. And part of what you can do as part of selling people and then even supporting them and delivering your service is asking those questions,
mm-hmm.
because that is market research and it's an ongoing thing. And if you build that into your process and into your systems, now when you do start building out and doing more marketing campaigns, you've got all this really good information from actual customers as well as the people that didn't buy.
Yep.
Sometimes you get more valuable information from the people that don't buy your product or service, because it says like, either here's a gap that we got to close,
mm-hmm.
here's something incongruent with our messaging, all sorts of reasons. But it all starts with making sales and then leading it into your marketing.
Speaking of messaging, you segued that quite nicely. The next episode that we're going to dive into this more in the next episode, but a big part of marketing is about what you stand for as a business, as an entrepreneur. So we aren't going to dive in too much to that right now, but basically as you define who you serve and why you serve them, that's a big piece of your bigger picture in your business, of your brand. So a lot of marketing is going to be really knowing that about yourself and about your business and making sure that you're taking the time to do that work. Because if you don't, you're going to end up sounding like everybody else out there, and you aren't going to have that unique you factor that's going to bring in your ideal clients.
Yeah. And, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, because once again, that's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll work with people, and really what this is coming down to is answering a handful of questions.
Yep.
But
They're hard
trying
questions.
to answer those questions if you don't really know your audience is very difficult. And so that's why, this next episode where we really dive into, your positioning and your branding and a little bit of that is going to be really critical, so that as you do start implementing marketing campaigns and focusing more on that, you've got a solid foundation and your message is clear and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. All right. What's your takeaway action from today?
So what I'm going to say is, if you're spending a lot of your day or a lot of your time doing marketing, but you're not making the amount of money that you want to, I'd recommend taking a step back. And basically, if you're not tracking your numbers, you definitely want to do that, but you want to understand how effective is your marketing campaign and where's the gap or what needs to change in order to make it more effective. And a lot of times, like for example, people will say, oh, I want to start a blog or I want to start a podcast or I want to do this other thing. And if that's not directly tied in to making you more sales or hitting the immediate need, then it's not something you should be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you guys to take out an audit of everything you're doing from a marketing perspective and really look for things that don't make sense for you to do right now that you can cut and free up your time to focus on, for example, making more sales or improving your system so that when you do improve your marketing, you're able to deliver on that.
And mine is kind of piggybacking off of yours a little bit. What is one thing that you have been avoiding or procrastinating on in your business because you've been spending a lot of your time marketing? Yeah. So as you take a step back and look at your business overall, what's one of those things that you've always been like, oh, I'll get to that. I'll do that at some point. I really should do this one thing. Do that.
Yeah, I love that. All right. And if you're struggling, as we're going through the show, you're nodding your head saying, yes, I'm spending a lot of time on marketing and I'm not making the money I want. I want to invite you guys to come and join our Lifestyle Builders Incubator. So this is a program that really is the culmination of years of just us not only building businesses ourselves, but also working with a lot of entrepreneurs and really understanding what's not working with people when they're newer to business or, when they're trying to get, $5,000 or $10,000 months and they haven't been able to do it. We walk you through step by step how to get everything set up right so that you can start making that sales that will then set your business up for more success. So if you guys are interested in learning more about that, getting not only the training, but also the live coaching calls and everything else that we offer with that, check it out at joinlifestylebuilders.com.
All right. It's been another great episode with Tom and Ariana, your hosts and lifestyle builders.
And as always, I want you guys to remember that it's your life, your business, your way. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Hey, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you know another entrepreneur who may benefit from hearing this show, we would so appreciate you being a good friend and sharing it with them. Are you dreaming of a life of financial freedom and more time to spend with your loved ones? Want to build your business to support that dream? You need Lifestyle Builders, a mentorship program designed to meet you where you are and give you strategic and custom guidance so you can build the business you need for the life you crave. Become a lifestyle builder at joinlifestylebuilders.com. Are you a Lifestyle Builders podcast fan? We'd love to hear from you. Head on over to tomandariana.com/iTunes and leave us a review.